Picture yourself standing in your kitchen, opening the pantry, and reaching for that bag of white rice. It's a habit you've built over decades. Perhaps you've made rice countless times for family meals, celebrations, or comforting lunches. But as the years pass, our nutritional needs shift in ways we never quite expected. Even for those of us who feel young at heart in our 70s or 80s, the body begins to whisper reminders that it needs a bit more support. One of the most overlooked areas of that support is the kind of carbohydrates and fiber we take in daily. Today, we'll explore why beans, of all varieties, could become your new best friend in the kitchen, especially if you're edging closer to 80 or beyond. Along the way, you'll discover how these humble legumes offer benefits that can transform how you feel every single day. Perhaps you've noticed some of the common challenges many older adults face: mild constipation, lower energy, or occasional spikes and dips in blood sugar. You might also have that familiar sense of bloating after a starch-heavy meal, like a bowl of rice, that doesn't sit quite right anymore. These are hints from your body that it may be time to shift gears and consider the types of foods that support your changing needs. After all, aging doesn't have to mean winding down your enjoyment of life. By making smarter food choices, you can continue to savor daily activities, like a brisk walk with a friend or a weekend outing with grandchildren, and help keep your health more stable in the process. There's a reason experts frequently mention beans, black beans, kidney beans, lentils, chickpeas, and more when discussing senior nutrition. They're packed with fiber, which helps regulate digestion and maintain balanced energy levels. That same fiber also plays a supporting role in heart health, which becomes especially important as we grow older. But it isn't just about fiber. Beans bring a bounty of vitamins, minerals, and plant-based protein that can complement a variety of dietary needs. It's little wonder nutritionists often say legumes are nature's gift that benefits everyone, but especially those in later life. Making the switch from a heaping scoop of rice to a satisfying portion of beans might seem intimidating if you've never done it before. But I promise that by the end of our time together, you'll feel equipped and inspired. We'll look at some of the biggest misconceptions about beans, like whether they cause too much bloating, and clarify how you can manage that effectively. We'll explore affordable, realistic recipes and talk about practical ways to incorporate legumes into your meals without giving up the traditional dishes you love. Most of all, you'll see that it's possible to maintain that sense of comfort food tradition while making your meals significantly healthier. Here's what you can expect to learn. First, we'll explore why fiber becomes especially vital after 80 and what misconceptions often deter seniors from getting enough of it. Second, we'll take a closer look at how beans stand out from other starchy foods, helping to stabilize energy throughout the day and keep digestion on track. Third, we'll bust common myths, like the idea that beans inevitably cause discomfort, and share some solutions that make a big difference. Finally, we'll discuss how to integrate beans into meals as a tasty rice alternative. By the end, you'll see a clear, easy path for swapping or at least reducing rice in your diet and unlocking the power of legumes. I come to you as someone who has spent many years helping older adults adapt their meal plans for better overall well-being. I'm not a doctor, and I encourage you to keep in close communication with your healthcare team, but I've seen countless seniors make these small, yet powerful dietary adjustments with remarkable success. My goal is to share insights and strategies that respect your life experience, are grounded in practical wisdom, and can truly help you feel more energetic day to day. Before we dive in, I'd love to know, if you were to swap out rice for another food on your plate, what would you choose? Maybe you've never even considered it until now, but sometimes entertaining a new idea is the first step toward a healthful change. Your thoughts and experiences matter, so feel free to reflect on that as we explore the topic further. The best path to better health often begins with a single question, and that might just be yours. Now let's unravel the first big idea about why fiber becomes non-negotiable as we journey into our 80s and beyond. You might be thinking, I've eaten rice for decades. How could something so familiar suddenly become less beneficial? It's a fair question, and one we'll delve into right now. Many folks believe that as we age, our digestive discomfort is simply par for the course. The truth is, there's a lot we can do to improve digestion and energy levels, and fiber is at the core of this transformation. First, let's challenge the assumption that fiber is only useful for warding off constipation. While it's true that fiber can help keep us regular, an essential factor for comfort in later years, its importance goes far beyond that. One misconception is that fiber's only job is to bulk up our stool, but fiber does much more, including supporting stable blood sugar levels and providing sustained energy throughout the day. This is especially important if you sometimes notice feeling tired or shaky in between meals. Take the story of Al, a 78-year-old retiree who used to complain about unpredictable spikes in his energy. He'd wake up full of zest, eat a big breakfast high in simple carbs, like a bagel or a bowl of plain cereal, and then crash mid-morning. By the time lunch rolled around, he'd eat another starchy meal, often white rice and some lean protein, only to crash again soon after. He became convinced these ups and downs were simply part of aging. Then he attended a local senior wellness seminar and discovered that adding just a cup of beans to his lunch could help keep his energy more balanced. He tried a simple recipe, black beans with diced tomatoes, onions, and light seasoning, and was amazed by how much steadier he felt through the afternoon. Why does this happen? Fiber helps slow the absorption of glucose, preventing those dramatic spikes and drops that can leave you feeling sluggish or shaky. As a result, you enjoy more consistent energy and focus, something many seniors find incredibly helpful, whether you're still working part-time, volunteering, or simply wanting to stay alert for daily life. So how do you get started with adding more fiber from beans if you've been relying heavily on rice? A great first step is to experiment with small portions. Try mixing half a cup of cooked beans into your usual meal so you get used to the texture and flavor. Over time, you can gradually reduce your rice portion and add more beans until they become the centerpiece of your plate. The physical benefits can be felt in better digestion and stable energy, while the emotional benefit often shows up as relief from digestive discomfort and from the frustration of energy dips. If you're worried about affordability, remember that beans are among the most budget-friendly proteins out there. Many seniors live on fixed incomes, so it's important to highlight that a bag of dried beans can stretch across multiple meals, making them a practical choice. You can even cook a big batch over the weekend and freeze portions to make your weekdays easier. It's also okay to address the medication side of things too, especially if you're on prescriptions for blood pressure or other conditions. While beans are nutritious, it's wise to mention new diet plans to your healthcare provider who may offer additional insights, especially if you're managing conditions like diabetes or kidney issues. They might even confirm that swapping out some rice for high-fiber legumes can be a helpful step. Being open about these changes ensures you're optimizing your health while avoiding any unexpected interactions. If this all sounds intriguing, think about one small change you can commit to this week. Perhaps it's adding half a cup of lentils to your soup or using chickpeas in a salad. Every small step counts, and the sense of accomplishment you'll feel after making a conscious choice can be quite motivating. Once you find a bean-based meal you love, your body and taste buds will start to guide you more naturally toward these healthier options. Sometimes a minor tweak in your daily routine can lead to surprisingly big results. Now let's move on to something that often comes up the moment we mention beans: the worry about bloating and gas. This is a common misconception that prevents so many of us from reaping the benefits of these nutritious foods. You may have heard that beans are simply too hard on the stomach. Some seniors believe that once you hit a certain age, your digestive system can't handle legumes without discomfort. Yet the reality is that while some individuals do experience gas initially, when they're not used to higher fiber intake, there are steps to minimize this effect. Imagine Dorothy, who at 81 had been told by her friends that beans would create embarrassing social moments, bloating, gas, and the dreaded discomfort that can make you want to skip social gatherings. Dorothy loved the idea of more protein and fiber, but she didn't want to risk upset stomach pains when she was planning to attend her weekly bridge club. Her hesitation was understandable, yet she decided to do some research with her granddaughter, a nutrition student, and learned a few game-changing tricks. One tip Dorothy picked up was to soak dried beans overnight, then rinse them thoroughly before cooking. This process helps remove some of the compounds that contribute to gas. Another strategy was to start with small portions, allowing the body to adapt to the increased fiber gradually. She also added digestive-friendly spices like cumin and ginger to her bean dishes, which not only added flavor, but also supported easier digestion. To her surprise, the discomfort she feared never became a major issue. Within a few weeks, Dorothy noticed her bowels were more regular, and she actually felt lighter after meals. Of course, everyone's body's different. Some seniors might need a bit more time to adjust, but it's often the case that persistence pays off. The benefits of fiber, including improved gut health and potentially lowered cholesterol, outweigh the initial discomfort if you ease into it mindfully. Plus, over time, your gut microbiome adapts to the fiber, making beans much more comfortable to digest than you might expect if you've only heard the horror stories. If you're still concerned, try lentils first. They tend to be easier on the stomach than some larger beans. And remember, you can always control your portions in the beginning. Start with just a spoonful or two mixed into a soup or stew. Another trick is to use canned beans, drain and rinse them well under running water, and incorporate them into a meal with plenty of vegetables. The rinse helps wash away some of the excess starch, further reducing gas-related side effects. Emotionally, this shift can be empowering. Instead of feeling restricted, like so many diets can make us feel, you realize you have the power to choose foods that help your body function more smoothly. The sense of ownership over your health is huge, particularly at a stage in life when many people feel like so much is out of their control. If you're finding these tips helpful so far, I'd love to know, what's one food habit you've been reluctant to change because of a fear or misconception? Take a moment to reflect on that. Sometimes just naming the worry helps us move past it. It could be a mistaken belief about beans, or it could be something else entirely. When you're ready, consider taking a small step to learn the facts or try a new approach, and see if your body responds better than expected. We've covered a lot about why fiber is important and how to navigate potential digestive concerns. Next, let's talk about how beans can support your energy and vitality in a way that rice often can't. It's easy to assume that white rice, being so common, can't be all that bad. Many of us grew up on it, and it's a staple in countless cuisines across the world. But here's the twist. White rice is a refined carbohydrate, meaning most of its natural fiber is stripped away during processing. When you eat a serving of white rice, you're primarily getting starch that can cause a quick spike in blood sugar, followed by a crash. This pattern can leave you feeling tired or moody, something that becomes more noticeable as our bodies change with age. Now meet Martin, a 76-year-old who was initially skeptical about the bean craze. He ate rice nearly every day, partly due to cultural tradition and partly because he found it comforting and easy to cook. Yet Martin also struggled with occasional dizziness and fatigue, especially during the afternoons. While it's not possible to say rice alone caused these issues, Martin's doctor suggested he look into more fiber-dense options. That's when Martin tried substituting half his usual serving of rice with pinto beans. It wasn't a drastic shift, but within a few weeks, he noticed fewer of those afternoon slumps. He described feeling more even keel, able to stay focused on his hobbies without needing a long nap. The evidence for this is quite straightforward. Beans have complex carbohydrates and a high fiber content, which slow the release of sugar into your bloodstream. The steadier supply of energy can make day-to-day tasks more manageable. That doesn't mean you need to eliminate rice altogether. Moderation is key, and some older adults do just fine with small servings of brown rice, which retains some fiber. The key is finding the balance that keeps your body feeling alert and energized. From a practical standpoint, cooking beans can be just as easy as cooking rice once you get the hang of it. Slow cookers and pressure cookers can be a senior's best friend. If standing at the stove for too long is an issue, these devices do most of the work for you. You can add onions, garlic, carrots, and spices, then let everything simmer until the beans are soft and flavorful. Freeze any extra portions, and you've got multiple meals ready. If you're not a big fan of the taste initially, consider experimenting with different seasonings. Herbs, a touch of olive oil, or even a sprinkle of cheese can really enhance the flavor of lentils or black beans. On the emotional front, it's common to feel a bit resistant to such a cultural shift, especially if rice is deeply ingrained in your traditions. Yet many seniors find that once they start seeing benefits like smoother digestion and more consistent energy, they become enthusiastic about exploring new bean-based dishes. It's a wonderful feeling to discover that even in our 80s, we can still embrace new flavors and habits that enrich our lives. If you're on the fence, think about one beloved recipe you already make that might benefit from swapping in some beans. Could you replace part of the rice in a casserole with lentils? Or could you create a comforting stew that uses chickpeas instead of a serving of rice on the side? Start with a recipe you already love, make a small modification, and see if it suits your taste. You might be pleasantly surprised by how well beans fit into many familiar dishes. At this point, you might be wondering if this is all talk, or if beans truly do offer enough of an advantage to warrant making the change. Let's move on and explore some practical, tasty ways to enjoy them. Finally, let's tackle the idea of what to cook instead of rice and how to make this shift enjoyable rather than burdensome. One assumption is that nothing can replace rice if you're seeking a hearty, comforting meal. That's not entirely true. While beans have a different texture, they can fill the same role on your plate, providing substance, satiety, and satisfaction. Consider a simple bean-based bowl that combines your favorite legumes with fresh or cooked vegetables, a bit of lean protein such as chicken or fish, if you eat animal protein, and a tasty sauce. This can resemble the balanced, filling nature of a rice bowl, but with far more fiber. You can customize the flavor by using spices that resonate with you, like oregano, basil, cumin, or turmeric. If you miss the fluffiness of rice, you could mix half beans and half brown rice at first, gradually increasing the bean ratio as you adjust. Take Linda, aged 85, who lives alone and worries she won't have the energy to stand in the kitchen preparing elaborate meals. Linda discovered one-pot bean dishes that require minimal prep. She tosses soaked beans, diced tomatoes, onions, and bell peppers into a pot with vegetable broth, sprinkles in her favorite herbs, and lets it simmer while she rests or reads the paper. In about an hour, often less with a pressure cooker, she has a nutritious stew that she can portion out for multiple days. Not only has this helped her reduce her reliance on takeout rice meals, but it also made her mealtime routine more predictable and stress-free. If the taste of plain beans isn't something you love right away, consider mashing them slightly to create a spread. Season it with garlic or herbs and use it the way you'd normally use a side of rice, maybe tucked into a wrap with some vegetables or as a layer in a casserole. Another option is to try bean-based pastas available in many grocery stores. These are made from lentils or chickpeas and often have a texture similar to regular pasta. It's a clever swap if you enjoy pasta dishes but want the added benefits of fiber and protein. It's also important to celebrate the small victories here. The first time you make a successful bean dish that you genuinely enjoy, take a moment to savor it. These seemingly minor changes can have a profound impact on your day-to-day well-being, helping you stay more active, more comfortable, and more engaged in life. By prioritizing high-fiber options like beans, you're essentially giving your digestive system, heart, and energy levels a much-needed boost at a time when your body deserves all the support it can get. Emotionally, this approach underscores a powerful message. It's never too late to discover new possibilities. Even in your 80s, you have the agency and wisdom to evolve how you nourish yourself. You don't have to give up tradition. You simply enhance it with foods that can make your golden years feel a bit brighter. Many seniors report feeling a renewed sense of control over their health, along with the gratification that comes from nourishing themselves in a way that aligns with their current stage of life. Before we wrap up, I'd love to encourage you to reflect on what you've heard so far. Which of these practical ideas resonates most with your tastes and lifestyle? If you're inclined to share, feel free to mention what kind of bean dish sounds most appealing. Sometimes speaking your intentions aloud can help bring them to life. By now, you've learned about the crucial role fiber plays in senior nutrition, why beans are a stellar alternative to rice, how to manage potential digestive concerns, and some practical ways to cook delicious legume-based meals. Let's take a moment to underscore what this could mean for your life in the coming weeks, months, and years. The transformation promise we began with is straightforward. By incorporating more fiber-rich beans into your diet, especially when replacing or reducing rice, you can experience more balanced energy, improved digestion, and potentially better heart health. These are changes that can enhance your sense of independence and daily comfort. It's not about becoming a different person overnight. It's about taking small, consistent steps that add up to meaningful results. There's an urgency to this message that isn't meant to scare you, but to gently remind you that every day counts. Our bodies become less forgiving of poor dietary choices as we age. For many older adults, a simple change, like shifting some meals from rice to beans, can make a noticeable difference in how they feel and function. If you're waiting for the perfect time, remember that the best day to start is often today, or the next time you plan your meals for the week. Think about waking up one morning a few months from now, realizing you've settled into a new routine that includes beans several times a week. Maybe you notice that you're more regular, that you have fewer of those midday energy crashes, and that you feel just a bit more optimistic about staying active. It's a realistic vision, not a miracle cure, and certainly not a guarantee to fix every health challenge. But it's a significant piece of the puzzle. If you're feeling ready to take action, here are a few ideas for how you might do that. At the simplest level, try a small first step. On your next grocery trip, pick up a bag of lentils or your favorite beans. Commit to substituting half of your usual rice serving in one meal this week. If you're feeling more adventurous, plan a new recipe. Maybe a hearty bean stew or a bean and vegetable casserole. Write down the ingredients, ask a friend to join you for a cooking afternoon, and have fun experimenting. For those who want to go further, think about exploring an entire week of meals that reduce or eliminate rice, focusing on legumes. Track how you feel each day, energy, digestion, even mood, and see if you notice a difference. You could also share this journey with others. Tell your friends or family that you're making a small but meaningful change. You might inspire someone else to do the same. Or if you belong to a community center, ask if there are cooking classes or nutrition workshops that can give you additional hands-on practice. Above all, remember that you know your body best. At this stage in life, your experience and intuition are invaluable. If something doesn't sit right, adjust it. If you love the way a certain bean dish makes you feel, incorporate it more often. Approach this with curiosity rather than fear. See it as an opportunity to continue learning and growing. Yes, it takes effort to establish a new habit, but that effort often translates into greater vitality, comfort, and satisfaction in your day-to-day activities. And isn't that what we all aim for as we age? More good days, more simple joys, and more confidence in our ability to take care of ourselves? Thank you for investing your time in learning about the power of beans in a senior diet. The choice is yours now. Will you give legumes a chance to shine on your plate and see what a difference they can make? It's a step that has the potential to bring you both peace of mind and genuine physical benefits. You've made it this far with grace and resilience, and there's no limit to how you can continue to enhance your well-being. Whether you implement just one bean-based meal a week or dive headfirst into a bean-centric diet, it's a choice worthy of your attention. Here's to embracing a future filled with vitality, one delicious bean dish at a time.